It happened again. It finally happened. Those old red flags are starting to appear in my head again. I wonder if this is another warning sign. Those sentences can be repeated hundreds of times in our heads. It seems like a few casual words, but it is the beginning of some difficult situations that we must face. Even though we intentionally ignore it, with that sharp intuition, it's hard for us to ignore it easily, even though after that we always emphasize to ourselves that we are determined to overcome it. We definitely cannot allow that situation to be recreated and then destroy the life that we have worked so hard to protect. Sometimes, happiness for us is really simple, as long as we can peacefully pass the day like many days before. Just like that. That little bit of satisfaction is enough to make us smile happily. Yet there are always problems that cling to us and never let go. I don't know how many wounds it has left in my heart. How many problems are there in our lives that are considered main concerns, besides family, career, and friends? Surely only the issue of marriage has enough weight to influence us, right? However, why are we always drawn to the same type of person? Someone who has accidentally hurt us before. Why is it difficult for us to find a healthy relationship, like everyone else, when it's our turn? After going through all that hurt, can our hearts fully love someone again? Put simply, familiar objects tend to draw our minds. From an evolutionary perspective, this makes a lot of sense, because through our brain's simple filtering method, what belongs to the familiar range to us will be less likely to cause harm. Our brain recognizes that our past experiences have helped us survive thus far. Therefore, our brains also perceive romance in the same way, and it tends to seek, or be most attracted to, things that remind us of our early attachments. Los Angeles-based psychologist Sarah Schewitz said in his interview, Los Angeles-based psychologist Sarah Schewitz said in his interview, "We unconsciously look for someone who combines the negative and positive characteristics of our childhood caregivers. Of course, this can be a positive thing if those connections are truly stable and secure. Yet, even though we are considered physiologically mature, inside us, there will always be some situations that from childhood to adulthood, we have not completely resolved. Even though those seeds have been buried by time, that doesn't mean they have completely lost their ability to grow. They are just hiding and waiting for that toxic source of nutrients to stimulate their ability to survive, allowing them to be reborn again, take the initiative, and take over our entire mind. So, once we are about to, or have fallen into toxic relationships, our psychology often begins to become difficult to control, and red flags constantly send out flashing signals in our heads. We can understand it as a series of signs that we are about to reenact past traumas. It constantly reminds us of those hidden pains, which we originally thought were truly healed by time. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop there. We are not only more likely to be attracted to these factors, but may also find it harder to leave them. The child in us believes that, as long as the original perpetrators impact us, causing us to develop holes in our psychology that then become eternal scars over time. Bow your head in acknowledgement and ask for forgiveness from me. Only then can we completely escape our psychological prison. But how can we easily influence the other person's psychology, forcing them to do what we desire, even though we know it's impossible? There's no way to avoid the feelings of heartache and loss when being treated unfairly like that. Then their image will always exist in our minds. But we may not even realize that our expectations are the rope that securely links their image and also bonds those deep pains to us. Toxic relationships tend to lack emotional security, but in some magical way, when we step into a close relationship, the weaknesses that we previously tried to cover up are activated one after another, and then fully exposed under the gaze of those we love, the person with whom we want to build a perfect relationship, even though we know that the price to pay is very high. If we once again look at the wrong person, but the urge to build a perfect relationship is a fire waiting to grab us when we let down our guard. The cause can come from any external factors, but they are only a mirror reflecting the instability within us, because the moment we start cultivating the idea of perfection is also the moment we place ourselves in a deep vortex. In addition to the strong pull from the triggers of our childhood trauma, there are still a few magnets with extremely strong attraction that make us fall into the deep pool of those toxic relationships. The next thing to mention is the attraction of people whom we think we can fix. People truly can change and help others, but a romantic relationship is not the place for that. They can often impact us as much as we influence them. Everyone will have certain errors in some aspects. However, in romantic relationships, we have to ask ourselves, if the person never gets over this problem, are we willing to live with it? In fact, if our tendency is to want to fix the people we are in a relationship with, whether it's a romantic relationship or not, it reflects the deep wound of feeling unworthy or not loved. We are trying to find our value in saving the other person. However, dependency is not a healthy way to approach relationships. This is also something that we can subconsciously model after our parents. There's nothing wrong with having hope in people, but if our relationships drain us rather than fill us, then maybe it's time we need to learn more about what our true motives are when entering a relationship. The two sources that pull us into this toxic vicious cycle have opposite colors. One side comes from the psychology of feeling unworthy of the other. Maybe it comes from insecurity about appearance, lifestyle. Your financial situation then leads to an imbalance in your psychology. And another side comes from the psychology of a perfectionist. When we pride ourselves on being a perfectionist, we are sending a message that we will do anything to not disappoint others. Toxic people will take advantage of that and quickly manipulate us into doing anything in the name of perfection. The remaining factor is also something that is constantly mentioned by a large segment of society today. It's about seeing them as an enabler with potential new partners. We may find ourselves easily attracted to new partners who may create similar patterns to ourselves. They often seem to be the most interesting people and are the ones with whom we tend to experience love at first sight. We are often blind to people's mistakes in the new stages of a romantic relationship, but watch out for the warning signs. Is this person criticizing or trying to control us? Will they call us names and bring us down? Is it possible to fall in love with another person of the same type? We may worry that if we continue to attract bullies and annoying, insensitive people, there is something wrong with us. However, attracting toxic people does not mean we are bad, useless, or worthless. It won't be easy, but there are ways to avoid those toxic relationships. Our most important thing is not to let the past guide our future. The fact that we have a series of short and intense love affairs, if viewed from a positive perspective, is absolutely a good thing for us to practice our inner strength, as long as we choose our partner because we feel connected to them, not because we are looking for sadness or pain. In the end, it's all about loving yourself. As Van der Steen says, when you love yourself, choosing a healthy love life becomes easier.